unfortunate that Prime Minister Netanyahu has apparently taken a page out of Trump's book.
We cannot let Trump and Netanyahu succeed in hiding the cruel reality of the occupation from us.
Well, Congresswomen Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar condemning Israel for blocking their visits to the country over what the White House is calling their anti-Semitic past. Now Democrats could take action against Israeli diplomats in retaliation. And here to react to all of that and more is the founder and president of the American Islamic Forum for Democracy, Zuhdi Jasser. Thank you very much for joining us. We appreciate it.
It's good to be with you, Heather. Thank you.
So what do you think about this? I mean, were they right to keep them from being able to come to Israel?
Well, you know, initially I thought no. I thought, you know, let them, as you saw with this presser, give them a microphone, and they really appear to be radical. But then as I found out what was on their agenda, as you looked at the group, MIFTA, organizing their tour, the people that they spoke to, was all imbalanced. It was the most radical of the representative briefings they were going to get. It was a propaganda trip. And as you saw, even as she used, Congresswoman Tlaib used her letterhead to ask to visit her grandmother, that turned out to be a stunt as she responded to the global pressure from the BDS movement. And make no mistake, the BDS movement is not about one side of the equation. It is a movement that seeks to destroy and eliminate Israel. It has no other endpoint. It has no asks other than to see Israel die. Yeah. And I think if you want to see the BDS movement die, then I thought at first, give them the antiseptic of sunlight and they'll wither away. Well, I think Israel had to pick the lesser of two evils, and the lesser of two evils was actually not to allow them to come, because it was a stunt. They weren't going to get the other side of the trip, and as you see, I think they had to mitigate their losses.
Yes. But did they accomplish at least part of their stunt? Because here we are talking about the BDS movement, and for people at home who may not know, although I think they all do, that is, of course, the boycott of Israel. And, well, you know, it's the headline yesterday and today, all weekend long.
I think they did if America only gets one side of the Muslim equation. And this is the problem with the left media, is they only allow these Muslims to speak on behalf of the rest of us in the American Muslim community. And there are a million Muslims that live inside Israel that are probably offended by their radicalism. There are many Muslims that reject BDS, that accept Israel as our ally, as our democracy. We don't say Israel is a democracy and then put it in air quotes like she did, which is an insult to our strongest ally in the Middle East. And then we don't go meet with Erdogan in Turkey and then meet with Qataris and ask to resume relations with our biggest enemy, Iran, and then say, oh, Israel is the problem. There are many American Muslims that are offended, and I think if Americans get that balanced response like you're having here on this show today, then I think there's an educational moment that's to be had. Without that, you're right, they are going to win the propaganda fight.
Two other things I wanted to talk about, because we mentioned this yesterday, the group that they originally wanted to go over to Israel with. Tell us a little bit more about that group specifically, when they turned down the bipartisan group and decided not to go with them.
Yeah, they went with MIFTA, and now they claim yesterday that MIFTA is they didn't really look at the background because they took a few Congress people back in 2016. Well, MIFTA is an organization founded by Hanan Ashrawi, one of the most radical socialists of the PLO leadership over the past 20 years. And they have sanctioned and apologized for female suicide bombers, saying that they sacrificed their lives for the cause. That's the language used. So it's not surprising that they are swimming in the same pool. They may claim not to know what MIFTA is, but this is the pool that these two congresswomen are swimming in.
Right.
They're swimming in pools of apologetics for radical Islamism and Hamas-like programming.
Yeah, I was going to bring up their sound there, where they actually said, and you just summarized it for us, they said that they didn't do a good job of vetting this organization, but, you know, you mentioned it's gone back 20 years. Come on.
Yeah, it's an organization that is really part of the fabric of the BDS movement, boycott, divest, and sanctions movement. It doesn't recognize Israel. It apologizes for Hamas militant activities. So, come on, if you want us to believe these two congresswomen, then they need to show some contrition, show that they see the militant side of the way the Jewish community lives in terror at times because of what Hamas does to them. You didn't hear any of that from their presser. Only they are the victims, when in fact they're really the the bullies in this equation, and they're using their platforms to bully the rest of us, especially Muslims.
Yeah, we'll see what happens next, because they're now hinting at cutting billions in aid to Israel. Also, some conversation from other Democrats punishing in some way some of the Israeli diplomats. So obviously it's going to continue. Dr. Jasser, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Appreciate it.